and it's just nice and solid. If you want, you can incorporate some of the muting technique a little bit with you, if you want with that. The actual notes that I'm playing on this particular one, it's starting with an open A, and if you want, you can even play a closed A, which would be on the 5th fret on the E string. But for these purposes, I kind of like to play an open string. It kind of opens the sound of the bass up a little bit. So I'm playing an A, then I'm not moving until the F, then do a C, G, D, A, and then the riff starts all over again. I want you to give this one a try and see how it sounds. And pay attention to how solid it sounds, even when the guitar is moving over top. Keep those 8 notes throbbing the whole time through it. Another cool thing to pay attention to, if you download that off of the site and you use that as just sort of a template for you to jam over, make use of where you're listening to the drums as well. You can always listen to the kick drum, which lands on the 1 and the 3, or you can listen to the backbeat, which is the snare drum, which lands on 2 and 4. So have fun with that one. Okay, now that we've talked about playing 8th notes, let's talk about the use of 16th notes. Again, the 8th note, while it's counted 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, a 16th note is twice as many, which is 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a. I put together a little line here that has a bit of a syncopated thing, meaning that you're not going to just hammer all the way through playing 16th notes as you would in this type of a line. In this particular line, we're going to leave some notes out, and it's very important in music, especially when you're writing something. So oftentimes it's what you don't play that's just as important as what you do play. Now, with syncopated 16ths, one of the things that I found as a bass player is that you don't always have to play exactly what the guitar is playing. You'll find that sometimes playing half as much, instead of hammering the, which is a 16th note passage, you can play 8th notes. And what that does is it creates the illusion that you're playing the exact same thing as the guitar, but because you're hitting the string, you're striking it less, you're actually giving the string enough time for its long waveforms to come out, and you're actually letting the sound of the bass note develop. So it's a bit of an illusion that you can use and play less, and the instrument actually is a more functional instrument in that position. We're going to play a track right now, and I'm going to play along with this just to demonstrate a little bit about what I'm talking about here. These are 16th notes. Now I'm going to go to 8th notes. Go back to the 16th. Go back to the 8ths. So it's 2. So that's a different way for you to use some different techniques to be able to create a little bit of a different sound and still be able to keep the bass in its primary role as creating a foundation for the riff and for the sound of a metal band. There's a lot of different things that you can do with the bass guitar that will actually help it step out into the front of the stage instead of always being in the background. For an example is what I was just playing, where you can use a pedal tone, which is where you keep a note ringing underneath while you're playing a riff over top of it. Also, another technique that I was incorporating is what's called the hammer-on. So far what we've been playing, as we've been hitting the note, we hit it directly on the beat. But with a hammer-on, what you do is you actually hammer up to the note. You're fingering one note, in this case with your first finger, and then actually hammering down the next note with your third finger. All the while we're keeping the pedal tone going underneath with the A string. Even while jumping over other strings. Of course, one of the most famous bass lines we've heard of that is Aerosmith's Sweet Emotion, which incorporates a lot of that type of movement where there's this nice sort of cloudy, real dreamy sort of ethereal bass tone going on and this part that's operating underneath of what the guitars are doing. So here, play along with me on this and try it, and even come up with some lines of your own where you're using a pedal tone with one note ringing out and then you have another line going over top. Play along with this, see what you can do with this. So let me show you the notes that I'm playing on this so that you can follow along. I'm hammering from the G up to the A, which is the 5th fret to the 7th fret on the D string. Then I'm moving up and I'm going from the 10th fret to the 12th fret on the D string. Then I'm hammering from the 12th fret up to the 14th fret on the D string. And then I actually jump up to the G string and also do a 12th and 14th hammer. And then I work it back down again.